All right, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Massimo Navarretta coming live for you for a wonderful session about drinking some amazing wine. It's about 98 degrees right now here in Southern California, more or less. It depends on what spot you are, but we're close to the water, very close to Newport Beach. So we get a little bit of breeze and release, but still, it's beautiful. It's summertime, the way summertime is intended to be warm, hot, fun. Obviously, lunchtime comes around, and the first idea is always the same idea is to have some refreshing foods, refreshing drinks. So, today, one of the nicest things that I want to talk about is the unique and diversity into the winemaking, especially in the rosé. Rosé has come long, long way from what it used to be. Um, I remember in the old days when I came to United States, rosé wasn't much of anything. Actually, wasn't even around. The only rosé I remember were from Portugal, and not a very sweet kind of a non-mentional, but interesting bottle though. The bottle shape is always the Lancer, very cute. However, things changed quite a bit. I remember in the middle of the 80s when the family, the Trinquero family, were having problems selling Zinfandels, they come up with a great idea, which was the blush. They didn't call rosé because they had just a hint color of pink, and which most people refer to as salmon color. It's got a lighter color, but of course, even that can be complicated because it depends on what it is. As a chef, of course, we have a different idea of pink because if you have a salmon from the Atlantic or the Norwegian coast, it's a little lighter in color. But if you go into Alaska, the Coho, Sakai, they're much deeper red. But we're talking about the simple blush color, and it became a thing because I remember in the restaurants, and it was kind of funny because people will say, will refer to the people asking for the white Zinfandel as the pink color or the blue color ladies' hair, and people that made it kind of fun on it. I thought it was silly because it took a lot of young consumer or even people that didn't really enjoy wine as much as we thought they would, but they enter in the market because it was a nice little sweet, non-threatening. So in many ways, the white Zinfandel or the blush wine that they came up with, it was a good idea because it wasn't a big deal of a wine, and maybe it was too much residual sugar, but it did make it easy for people to come closer and start enjoying the idea of a glass wine. So today is much more complicated, is much more interesting, and much more exciting, if you will, because every region of the world is making some very exciting and interesting, high quality rosé to a point where sometime if you are familiar with a brand out there, Otto from the southern part of the French wine region, very very expensive, and I must say exciting wine. Absolutely, Master Wines love this wine because it's so uniquely. I personally think there are tremendous rosé all across the board, and you can enjoy a good glass rosé because it has the best of both the world, especially for light fare, light meals, salad, seafood, or even some light meals, meat types, where chicken, quails, and other items. However, the most important thing about rosé is that it behaves like a white wine because you chill it, and it has a little bit of the component of the red wine, and it's got this festive attitude about, which is what you want in wine, especially in an early afternoon where things are not quite getting serious yet. So two wines come to mind, very, very unique in his own spectrum. One, it's a sparkling rosé made out of a very, very exciting, interesting red grapes that it's very rare. You don't find them around outside the Italian areas because the wine really is the grapes is very limited into the area productions, which is up into the Venetian area, north of Venice, they call Raboso. So Raboso, it was the preferred grapes of the Doge of Venice. At one point, Venice in 12, 13, 1400 were very powerful sea power, and they had a boat going almost everywhere. In fact, you know probably one of the most famous play by Shakespeare, The Merchant of Venice, which one of the things they merged into it was wine. The Raposo was their choice of wine because it has a very high acidity, very, very high tannins, and doesn't spoil. So when they put them on the boat on the way out of Venice, the wine actually miraculously got better. Actually, what it did is it got softer. That's the idea of a better wine. But this wonderful family, there's a friend of mine, I represented them in the United States. They produce fantastic sparkling rosé with the Raposo grapes. And that's the wine that I'm going to show you right here. So this is more the deeper, more sockeye kind of salmon, richer wine because the grapes himself is the grapes is a very deep color, very strong. So the company is called Sette Anime, made out of 100% the Raposo. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind in the champagne and prosecco, the pressure for it's much more intense. Here in the sparkling or frizzante in Italian means sparkling or foaming. Frizzante is made with less aggressivity, so the wine is mellow. When you open up, you feel the nice bubble on the palate, but it's not aggressive. It's not attacking your palate. In fact, it caresses your palate. More importantly, has these wonderful notes of a sour cherry, a white Rainier cherry, raspberry, but the finishing is very delicious. It's got this easy acidity that you usually get it in a rich Mirabelle plum. So it's a wine that by himself is very easy to drink, very easy to enjoy, but also fantastic with the seafood, the scampi, with the shrimps, the scallops, and all type of nice salad. Because sometimes the most challenging things for chefs and home cooking is that they love salad in the afternoon, but because the vinaigrette they use, the typically winemaker kind of gets scared because the vinaigrette it takes away any acidity, aggressive acidity, takes away from the flavor of the wine. In this particular case, the effervescence it cuts before the flavor comes in, so it almost goes into an avant-garde attacker for you. So it cleanses the palate a little bit, gives a nice cleanliness, and so after that you can actually enjoy all the flavor that the wine himself offers to it. The other one is very interesting wine from the region of Tuscany. So Tuscany is known for their Sangiovese. Everybody knows a lot of the Super Tuscan nowadays got very, very popular. They usually Cabernet Merlot base with Sangiovese, of course. But this is a very interesting family, the Fattoria Bardi, Fattoria Sardi. They produce. They are biodynamic producers. So let me just open up a little windows for you about biodynamic, organic, and so on. But just to make it short, biodynamic is the most aggressive, most rigorous way of growing, farming, or vegetables or grapes. So you work with the cycle of the moon. You have to consistently utilize only the energy within inside of the vineyards. It's a much more aggressive and rigorous way because the idea behind is to become self-sustaining, and so works with the biorhythms of nature. And so if you're looking for the most pure way of farming or the most healthy, pure way of producing, this is a very challenging, but is also one of the most pure. This family has big commitment. They grow Sangiovese, they grow Cabernet, Saint Merlot. So this is very unusual because typically you don't find a lot of Sangiovese Cabernet blend into a rosé. They are much more valuable wines for reds. But this family truly believes in their product, so they made a rosé with that kind of blend of basically Cabernet Sangiovese. I think it's fantastic. They got actually the Syrah as well. Also, because those are high-end sugar content wines, so that residual sugar naturally comes back to you in the back end of the palate. So it's not a sweet wine at all, but it does have a very rich, round middle palate and also the finish has got a nice hint of fruit sugar notes, like nice light cherries, and it's very pleasant. And in fact, you almost can enjoy this wine without any food whatsoever, because it has that nice little fulfilling satisfactions back end. The acidity is very mellow, it's very round, because that nice little residual sugar. What's really unusual about this particular wine is that typically there is not this much intensity and intention in order to make this high quality rosé. I found very pleasant and very exciting on the palate, but also quite unique, a little bit retro, if you will. It's almost like going back to how they started making some of the rosé, where the actually hint of rose. Remember, rosé was intended to be a rose, and so the original wine style was more to have a hint of rose and rose petal to it. This actually you find it. It's very interesting, and I love that because it throws you back a little bit from the early high quality rosé, but intentionally were not trying to compete with some of the white big boys. In fact, if you notice some of the rosé in the last 5-10 years, they have become more and more unique and aggressive, but not necessarily, more interesting. They just are more aggressive. They're trying to go more for the edge, the razor acidity. It's almost competing with your white high-end wine. I think rosé has an immense applications into the wines and food pairing, but also an immense ability of to be everybody's friend, and that's the idea behind the rosé. So I leave you with these thoughts in mind. The great thing about rosé, you don't have to think about it. Just pop the cork, enjoy it, put them in a glass, sit in the porch or whatever you at on a grass knoll or whatever, or down the beach, chill it, and you chill with the wine and enjoy it. Ciao, arrivederci. I'll see you soon.